So let me ask this: when Trump got elected the first time, if I have to think like the enemy, your fear is first round, his first term, he's not going to get a lot done. He will, but not a lot done. You can't get reelected because in the second term, he's really going to do what he's going to want to do because he doesn't give a shit about getting reelected. Is the fear now of him winning because he's really going to impose and challenge and push of getting things done that maybe, because, a lot of times some Republicans said, well, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't do it. Well, you said you're going to lock her up. You didn't do it. You said you're going to go out. You didn't do it. You said you're going to do that. You didn't do it. Some of the stuff that he said, he didn't do. And the true Republicans are like, what happened with those things? Do you think a part of the fear of the second term is they're sitting there saying, holy shit, if he gets in here and actually learns that he didn't know anybody, the people that he hired, now he actually knows who's not full of shit and who is full of shit and who are the people that are snakes and who is not, because he's had enough exchange to know who you can trust and who you can't trust. Shit, we can't get this guy to get back in here. Do you think that's the big fear? What do you think the fear is with the second term?
I think the fear, in a sense, is actually a lot less than that, but it's somehow a lot more than that because it's a lot less than that, which is that they don't need Trump to take drastic action in order to ruin the best laid plans of mice and men, if you will. So we have this big foreign policy blob operation to seize Eurasia. If you look up, for example, Russia, 75 trillion resources, you'll get a glimpse of what I'm talking about here. This has been the great goal of NATO and the stakeholders of the State Department and the DOD since the Cold War. But if you if you just look at this, and you can pull up a graph, I think, in one of these articles, which will just give you a sort of a lay of the land here. Yeah, like something like one of those will probably get you there. Yeah. So you'll see, like, Russia has by far the most natural resources of any other country on Earth. And Russia is also surrounded by a bunch of these ex-Soviet satellite states, everything from Central and Eastern Europe into, the stands. And there has been this NATO expansion operation since 1990. There has been this sort of, you have the military, you have the security alliance, but then you have the political and economic entanglements that bring their economics into the Western economic sphere. That all of this became very fragile in the past. Really started when Putin began to reassert Russian influence over Central and Eastern Europe through gas diplomacy in 2005, 2006, the blowups with Georgia and with other Baltic and Balkan states. There became this big struggle for control over the European gas economy, and also to end Russia's military complex, because Russia is also the reason that we have not been able to invade Syria. They provided the S-400 air defense systems that blocked us from doing air raids against Assad. They're the ones who are providing the small arms to all the African rebel groups who are toppling all the U.S.-backed governments there in Chad, in Niger, in the Ivory Coast. They're providing a backstop to basically every major adversary government of the U.S. Pentagon. But they also sit on all these natural resources. You may have recalled Lindsey Graham came out just a few months ago and sort of let the cat out of the bag, where he said, listen, even if you don't care about democracy in Ukraine, the fact is they sit on $12.4 trillion of natural resources. So we should be defending Ukraine and spending the military investment in defending them because we want those $12.4 trillion. Of course, you look at it and you say, but wait a second, that's Ukraine's $12.4 trillion, right? And no, it's because when we move into these countries, we make them our political and economic vassals. It is our American companies or North American allied companies who develop the partnerships. This is what happened, for example, with Ukraine, with Burisma and Naftogaz. Naftogaz is the big state-owned Ukrainian gas giant that Burisma was the feeder into. Well, Chevron signed a $10 billion partnership deal with Naftogaz before the 2014 coup. Shell from the UK signed a $10 billion deal with it. George Soros has been personally leading a campaign to privatize that company and put it into the arms of U.S. investors, so that even though the pipelines all sit in Ukraine, and even though it's Ukraine's almost its entire economy outside of agriculture. You, as a Ukrainian citizens, do not actually profit from having the gas there, from having the pipelines there, because all of the money is going to investors 11,000 miles away in Washington and in London. But this is the game as it is in Germany. This is the game as it is in Moldova and Latvia and Lithuania and Poland and Finland and Sweden, in Turkmenistan, in Uzbekistan, in Kazakhstan. This is the game to be able to bring these trillions of dollars of assets into the arms of Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase and Citibank and BlackRock and the multinational corporations that serve as our portfolio firms and the trickle-down political insiders who are basically the donees of that complex. But the problem is that is already a very fragile operation, as Russia has persisted with this military operation, and we have been unable to regime change their government. The Navalny, the Pussy Riot operations, none of them worked. It is much harder logistically for us to mobilize against Russia by backstopping Ukraine without drastic escalation. And so the problem is this is very, very, very fragile. And all Trump needs to do to ruin it, and the trillions of dollars of windfall profits and the hundreds of billions of dollars of investments already made, which will be sunk costs if this operation doesn't work, is for Trump to be neutral. That's all it will take for ruining it. It doesn't require drastic action by Trump. If Trump negotiates a peace deal right now between Russia and Ukraine, as it stands, and says, okay, the war is over, no more Russian aggression, but Russia, you get to keep the territory that you've already seized in the Donbass. We're going to respect the Crimean referendum from 2014. All Trump needs to do is accept that as the lay of the land. And you have already dealt hundreds of billions of dollars of damages to Wall Street private equity firms, to London bankers, to multinational corporations, which were all skating to where the puck was going, which was seizing these trillions in Eurasia. And a great example of this, if you go to my timeline right now on X and you type in the phrase aggressively neutral, I'm going to show you what the Biden State Department did to the Prime Minister of Pakistan just 2 years ago. Okay, this is just a funny thing because of Dua Lipa's Atlantic Council Award. But let's see. Aggressively neutral position is the full phrase. In fact, and if you want to find it, maybe the fastest way is you can just go type in The Intercept on search, on just a regular Google search, because I'll show you straight from the source document. The Intercept, type in Imran Khan State Department cable. Is that from the Intercept one?
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. Or actually, I think it was called the leaked State Department cable. If you scroll down a little bit, no, just scroll down a little. I think I saw it right there. Yeah. I think that. Okay, actually, we'll scroll up. I think let's go with that first one. Okay, run a Control F search for the phrase aggressively. Okay, cool. All right, so it's there. So actually, let's just start at the top, and then we'll go back to this thing, so we'll see, just so I can set the stage a little bit. So this is Imran Khan, the most popular prime minister in Pakistan history, widely loved by his people to the point where after they removed him from power, they banned elections for a short time because they were afraid he would win again, even after being removed. So this shows what really happened with the removal of the most popular prime minister in Pakistan history. It was basically a coup by the Pakistani parliament and its military, its generals, and its ISI, its intelligence service. And these Intercept leak cable documents show what gave rise to that coup. And it was the U.S. State Department, diplomats from the U.S. State Department, threatening Pakistani parliamentarians and diplomats with, quote, carrots and sticks, and saying Imran Khan needs to be removed as president. You need to impeach him. And you will get basically humanitarian aid if you do it. So you'll get carrots. We'll make you rich if you do it, and we will make your life a living hell. We will make you a isolated pariah. We'll put sanctions on you if you don't. Imran Khan has angered the U.S. State Department, but all will be forgiven if you in Parliament remove him from power. Now imagine if Russia had done this to us or something, right? So now if you Control F to aggressively neutral, you'll see what the reasoning here is. And actually, before I read this, let me just set the stage a little bit here. So, the history of Pakistan has this hybrid governance model where they're very explicit, unlike the U.S., about the different role of the civilian elected government and the military. The military state in Pakistan has been a U.S. vassal for at least 40 years. Pakistan was where we trained the Mujahideen in the 1970s, the CIA-backed Islamic fundamentalist groups who were being used as essentially U.S.-funded radical terrorist groups in order to attack the Soviets in Afghanistan in 1970 and cause them to have sort of their Vietnam. That was all being coordinated in Pakistan with Pakistan-fronted CIA banks like BCCI, the Bank of Credit and Commerce International. And Pakistan, because it is this big U.S. military and intelligence hub, is a major transshipment point for weapons to Ukraine. There's basically a sea bridge from Pakistan to Romania. The weapons then go in from there. Just this year, the UK built an air bridge between Pakistan and Romania in order to more efficiently ship the weapons, because it's a giant weapons depot for the DoD and the CIA for their operations in Syria, for their operations in Afghanistan, all over Central Asia. So if Imran Khan was neutral on the war and said, I want to be friends with the U.S., but I also want to be friends with Russia, so I don't want to provide military transshipment from Pakistan to Romania to Ukraine to kill the Russians, then that cripples the ability for NATO to successfully win an already teetering war with Russia. So they need a prime minister who will authorize that. If someone's simply neutral,
got it,
then that ends it. And so you'll see what the State Department told the parliamentarians in Pakistan is that he needs to be removed because Imran Khan took an aggressively neutral position on Ukraine. That is all Trump needs to do to ruin this whole operation for the blob.
People here and in Europe are quite concerned because why Pakistan is taking such an aggressively neutral position on Ukraine.
Hi, this is Mike Benz. You can connect with me on Connect for any questions that you have on internet censorship, foreign policy, national security, the blob, or if you want to know what a particular institution is doing that you may have seen or have questions about in terms of its control over the information ecosystem. So connect with me on Connect.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.